First go through over the control panels, show you a few pointers when the machine comes into you so you're prepared to know how to set up the machine and get it to run. We'll go over the threading of the machine, the operation of the machine, and then go over some brief areas where we'll talk about the maintenance on the RQ-8. First off, when the machine comes in, it'll be on a skid. You want to take the machine off the skid. Be careful because the machine is very heavy. First off, in the front of the machine right here is a green access door. Up in the upper right hand corner of the green access door is a small screw. That screw is for shipping purposes only, and that's to keep the door from swinging open in transit. You want to remove that screw upon arrival so that you'll be able to gain access to the pull box area. At this point, if you have the machine off the skid, you'll notice that two of the casters pivot, two are fixed. The two fixed casters are on the side of the dispenser, which is right here. So you'll need to pivot the machine as you move it around, with the other end as the steering end. Once you get the machine in, you want to uncoil the power cord and then plug in the RQ-8. Inside the green access door, which is located right here on the front of the machine, inside is the main on-off switch, which is located right up in this area here. You'll flip that main circuit breaker on, which will put power to the machine. You can go ahead and close your access door. And if you look up on the control panel now, you'll see that your power switch is flashing. This is a slow flashing indication for this machine. When it begins flashing rapidly, that means the heater is up to temperature and the machine is ready to operate. It generally takes about 20 to 25 seconds for the heater to come up to temperature on a straight pack RQ-8. Next to that flashing power light, located here, is the tension knob. There are a series of numbers on that tension knob, and that dictates how tight the strap pulls around the package. So you can adjust that down to 0, which is minimum, all the way up to 10, which is maximum. Realizing that up around 8 to 10, it's marked in red, and that's the reason for that is that's probably more tension than you'll need, and in fact is enough tension we can actually cut right through an empty corrugated box. At this point you'll see the power light is flashing rapidly. That means the heater's come up to temperature and the machine is ready to operate. At this point, if I want to turn the motors on and have the machine ready to run, I just merely push the power button one time and it'll be ready to go. If that doesn't work, obviously the safety switch might be engaged. At this point you can hear the motors come on and the light goes to a steady glow. Right below that switch is our forward and reverse button, which forwards strap around the arch and reverses it back out into the pull box. Below that is the emergency stop button, and below that is the start button. The start button will allow the machine to activate and strap a package. The stop button, when you push in on it, it locks down. As you can see, your indicator light begins to flash, which is an indication you have the stop button depressed. At that point you will merely twist and release, and then the stop button will pop up, and you'll need to push your power button to again resume strapping. At this point I'll go ahead and put some packages in, and we'll begin strapping them so you can see the operation of the RQ-8. Standard RQ-8 strapping machines come 25 inches in width, as you can see here across the width, and 20 inches from the tabletop up to the arch above. You might be able to get a slightly larger package than that into the standard machine. If your machine is non-standard, it could possibly be that it is wider in this direction or it's taller in this direction. And we do make arch extensions for these machines, so yours could very well be larger than the 25 by 20. For the operation of the machine, it doesn't matter which arch size you have. All you want to do is make sure that you center the package over the seal plate, which at this point I'm showing you the seal point is the slide table, which is located right here in the center part of the table. Okay, that is your seal point. So all packages you like to, best optimal seal would be if you center it over the slide table. Located on the table as well when it comes into you is a blue film material. You can see I'm rubbing on right here. Underneath that is a stainless steel table, a polished stainless steel. You want to remove this blue protective coating when the machine comes into you. We do not remove that before we ship it so that it keeps the table protected. You'll also notice on the back of the machine there is a white cover located over the controls back here, and again that will peel off as well and expose a polished stainless steel surface. Again, we're going to take a package, which could be a box, a bundle, whatever it is, and place it and center it over the seal plate. At that point, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're holding onto the package just to keep it secure, and then you want to initiate a cycle, whether it be by start button or I can activate it off of a foot pedal. And for those machines that are out in the field, some may very well have a photo eye activation, which we review separately if the machine has that on there. At this point, I can take and I can turn the package in any dimension I want, in any direction, and the RQ-8 will automatically size for the package and seal down around it. Again, tension control can be adjusted off the control panel with a knob. On this one, I'm running it at 0 tension, and then all I'll get is purely the reversing action of the motor and get no secondary tension on the package. What I'll do at this point is I'll go ahead and turn up the dial, and right now I'm running on 2. I'll place the package where I want it. I'll initiate a cycle, and if you look at the 2 straps, you can see a substantial difference in tension from the first one to the second one. First one being very loose, and the second one being quite a bit tighter. And again, you can continue to tighten that anytime you want. So again, center just the package in between, or right over the seal plate or the slide table, and center it in the arch. This tabletop has freestanding, free rolling cigar-shaped rollers here. That's just to assist on putting the package in and turning it and taking it out of the machine. This machine can be activated from both sides. I don't care which way the package comes in, as long as the operator that places the package has the ability to activate the machine either with the start button or by stepping on the foot pedal. At this point, I've added another product, stack of bags. Again, all we're going to do is center it over the slide table. We'll go ahead and initiate a cycle. At that point, I can then go and turn the package inside the arch opening, turn it the other direction, and again activate a strap cycle. At that point, I have a cross strap, and as you can see, even on a lightweight bag like this, we can set the tension control such that we don't curl the package up. And if I wanted to, I can go very high in the tension range to really secure a package. A very operator-friendly feature of the RQ-8 is what we call loop ejection. At this point, the machine is threaded and ready to go. And what I'll do is I will initiate a cycle, and there'll be no package present. It will reverse the strap down to a very small loop, eject the loop, and automatically refill the arch. At this point, you see the small loop sitting on the tabletop, and that small loop of strap has been ejected out of the seal head, and the arch is already refilled and ready for the next cycle. Again, I can activate one more time, and again you see that loop of strap eject, and we refill the arch. So this is what we call the loop ejection system, and keeps it from jamming and causing problems if activated without a package in the arch. The RQ-8 also can accommodate what we call a short feed. And a short feed merely means that the arch has not completely filled the strap. And right now what I'll show you is, this is our slide table, or our center seal point. This is what we call the left-hand bandway here. Then the strap will go vertical. It will come across. It'll come down in this other vertical archway on the right-hand side, and then go into what we call the right-hand bandway, and then back underneath the slide table. If for any reason the machine feeds out in the left-hand bandway, goes up around the arch but does not come back fully to the position here, what will happen is the strap will retract back into the pull box inside the machine, and then the RQ-8 will automatically go and refeed that strap. So it basically will clear itself if for any reason it has what we call a short feed. At this point, what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to create a short feed by using the feed and reverse part of the machine. Right now I've reversed by utilizing the reverse button on the control panel. I've taken the strap completely out of the archway. I will use the forward reverse side of it, which you have to hold it to let it feed. What I'll do is I'll feed a little bit and I'll let go. At this point, the strap is not all the way around in the home position, and what I want to do, and then I'll go ahead and initiate a cycle, and I want to show you what your operator may see with the package being present, is when they initiate the cycle, they see that. Now what the first cycle, part of that cycle was, it was reversing the strap back into the pull box, and then the RQ-8 will automatically go and refill the arch, which at this point you'll see is already threaded and ready for the next cycle. So it will automatically clear itself if it ever has a short feed around the arch. So if an operator places a package, initiates a cycle, nothing happens, and then they stand there again, if they'll wait just half a second, step on the foot pedal again, it'll automatically go then and reverse to the package and clear itself. If it does it 3 times where it can't fill the arch, it will give you a fault signal, which means that the yellow light on the tabletop here will begin flashing, telling you that there is something mechanically wrong and you would need to clear that strap out. At this point, I'd like to go through the threading operation for the RQ-8. This is the dispenser that is located on the side of the machine. This is what we call the outer flange, this round piece here, and then there's the reel handle, which is the black handle inside here. It can be black, it could be gray, it could be a lot of things. The one thing I want you to notice is there is an indicator arrow on the outside on the handle right here that shows the direction of the to turn the handle, to tighten it and loosen it. Please pay attention to that as well. Additionally, on the inside reel circular, this is the inner reel circular, this backside one that does not come off of the machine, there is an arrow in there that indicates the direction with which the coil of strap should be placed on the machine. You'll see that when the coil is empty, but what we want is we want the rotation of the coil to be in the direction so that it would rotate. In essence, it'll rotate clockwise. Okay, so on the outside part here you want to rotate, and you want the strap to come off the bottom of the coil rather than coming off the top in this fashion here. You want it to come off of the bottom down here so that the brake arm will work properly. The strap will come into you in a box, and there will be retaining straps holding these corrugated lips down. Okay? By all means, do not remove this retaining strap across the coil until you have it housed on the machine. If you cut those retaining straps, likelihood is the strap will come off the sides and you lose a coil of strap. So at this point, I would, if I were starting a new coil, I would take this outer nut reel handle off, take the outer flange off of the machine. It comes this way. Take any of the cardboard corrugated left over from the previous coil and throw it away. Place your new coil of strap on, making sure that it is dispensing off the bottom of the coil down here, and it will have an indicator arrow on a piece of tape on the strap so you'll know which way it goes. Put this outer flange back on, tighten up the reel handle, snug it up. You don't have to over tighten it. If you over tighten it, it'll begin to bow into the middle part in here on the reel, and eventually that outer reel will break. So just snug it up so it's good and tight, leaving the cardboard pieces in place on the coil. Once you have this outer reel tight, go ahead and cut your retaining straps across here. You can either pull those out and throw them away, or you can just leave them laying across here. If you leave them across, I'd recommend just cutting the strap in the middle and leave it. It will force the coil to unthread more from the center part of the coil rather than the flanges. Okay, at the point with which you already have the coil on there, excuse me, what you'll have then is this is your brake arm located right here, and this is the brake arm with an idler roller, and this brake arm idler roller is free to move on this shaft any way you want it to. It'll just move back and forth as it needs to, so you don't need to adjust that. Basically, you'll come off the bottom of the coil across here, you'll go through the roller right here, you'll then go down to this roller here, and then you'll take the strap and you'll come straight over to a small slot in the machine, which is located right there. That slot then goes into the pool box area. Above that then is the auto feed handle, and there are instructions for this threading located on the side of the machine right here on the label. But this is in the run position as it's currently setting here, and if you lift up on the handle, bring it up and move it over to the left, as you see there, that's in the load position. So that's load, up over the other way, that's run. Simple as that to thread the strap, and I'll show you how that's done here in just 1 second. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and open up the inside of the machine, and what we have inside here is what we call the pool box. And the pool box runs the width of the machine, and the way this strapper runs is we feed strap into the pool box. We have an auto feed roller that are located right down here. I have a pair of rollers right down here. They're two metal rollers right here that feed strap into the pool box, and then we feed from the pool box around the arch. This pool box right here has a retaining door on it right here, and then the strap will come in to this trackway. When you thread it in, it'll thread in to the trackway, it'll go up into the pool box, and then around the arch. Now that we reviewed the strap trackway coming into the pool box here, I will go ahead and open the access door to the pool box itself right here, and this is the inner workings in here, and this door just opens up. There isn't any reason for you to necessarily be in here at any particular time. I mean, it's not an area that you have to access frequently, but I did want to show you where the pool box door was. You want to make sure you open and close this pool box door by using the handle right here. You don't want to push on the center of the box right here because it will have a tendency to bend it in, then it won't work appropriately. At this point you go ahead and close the outer door, and it latches with a magnet, and then you basically have it set up the way you need it and it's ready to run. I will go ahead and go through the complete threading operation at the present time and show you how it's done. At this point, as I've mentioned, we're going off the bottom of the coil, and as you can see here, the strap's coming off the bottom. Okay, I'm going through the brake arm right here. You see how it just goes straight through the roller? So that when the machine is pulling, it pulls this brake arm down and allows the dispenser to turn freely. At the present time, with the brake engaged, as you can see, I can't move the dispenser very well. So it needs to go through the brake arm for sure. At this point then, the strap, as it comes off the coil, will have a natural curve already to it. As you can see here, it kind of has a natural bend to it. When we put the strap into the machine, right here in the slot of the machine, I want that curve of the strap pointed down toward the floor like this. I don't want it turned around where it's pointing up to the ceiling. I'll explain why when we get up to the seal point up in the archway. So at this point, as the strap comes out this way, you may have to make a turn in the strap to get it to go in with the curl of the strap down. At this point, all I do is go through that second idler roller, as you see there, and then that's all that's needed to thread it at that point. Then what you want to do is move around to where you can get to the feed lever. You're going to move the feed lever up into the load position. You want to take the strap, as I've got the end of the strap right here, and you want to make sure that goes into the slot in the machine. And all you need to do is just put an inch or two in there, because all I'm attempting to do is push the strap far enough so it reaches these two feed rollers inside the machine. So I've got a very short distance across here that it needs to go, and you don't want to over thread it by hand. At that point, you take your load lever and put it in the run position, and don't forget to put it down in the run position, and that's all you have to do as far as threading it. Then we'll come up to the control panel. At this point, you see the light flashing, the safety switch is pushed down. If you're going to have the machine on when you're threading it, you want to make sure you push the safety button down so that the machine doesn't try to pull strap into the pull box by itself. You don't want to be fighting against it. At this point, I will push in, twist it, let it release up. When I push the power button here that's flashing now, the machine will first feed link the strap, then it will rapidly fill the pull box, and it'll automatically fill the arch. So all you have to do at this point is push the power button. At that point, the machine is threaded completely, and you've done nothing other than put it in the side of the machine. Right now there is strap in the pull box, completely filled, and the arch is full, so the machine is ready to completely activate. Very simple threading process. Again, the diagram for how to thread this machine is located here on the side of the machine. So you can follow that diagram. It's very self-explanatory. It's also located in the manual itself. And you can run the machine until you run out of strap and then start this process all over again. At this point, I've removed both the back table and the front table, which are removed by removing a Phillips head screw on both sides and just lift the tables off. So what I want to do is just show you the internal workings of the RQ-8. It is by far the simplest strapping head on the market. If you take a look inside the seal head, basically what we have is the heater blade, which are the two wires you see coming out here, which is located under this cover, and that's what actually melts the strap together. Be very careful with that. As you show a safety symbol here, it gets very hot. You do not want to come in contact with the heater when it's hot. So make sure if you're going to clean the heater or do any maintenance on it that you make sure the machine is off and the heater is cooled down. Right next to it here is a fan that's mounted on this arm right here, and the fan has two purposes. One is to circulate air throughout the inside of this cabinet, and it allows the heater to stay at a more constant temperature. And the second is that each time we heat seal the strap, a small bit of smoke is created by that sealing, and this fan draws that smoke down into the cabinet and allows it to dissipate down here rather than rising up into the operator's face. So it is critical that we keep this fan operating. It is an important feature of the machine, not just a luxury, and it needs to be cleaned out regularly. So when you blow out the inside of the cabinet, make sure you pay particular attention to blowing out this fan blades and keeping it clear of debris so that it'll continue to operate. On this side over here, you see the right-hand bandway that I had talked about before, and over here then is the left-hand bandway. On the back side here is what we call the slide table, which is this silver piece here, and it's riding in a trackway in this brass guide and this metal guide over here. This slide table has a very heavy spring on it. It's very difficult to push back manually. So if you decide you want to push the slide table toward the rear of the machine, just make sure you got a good grip on it and you don't have your fingers where they can get pinched, because it does pull back very quickly and very hard. On the right hand side of the machine here are the adjustment screws here for the right hand bandway. This right hand bandway has been adjusted on your machine and should not require any adjustment on your part, but these two screws right here are released to allow the bandway to move in toward the backstop or out toward the operator. And then we have a pair of screws that are also located down on the side right here that allow for us to raise and lower the right hand bandway to make it so it fits perfectly and slides up underneath the slide table. Again, those should be set when they come in, or rarely need to have to adjust those. Heater crank spring is down here. Basically, on the back side of the machine then, we have a clutch mechanism. The clutch drive, which is our tension clutch, which is located back here. Then we have the roller for the reversing of the strap, and down below it is another roller for the feeding of the strap. We have a small V-belt that runs up over these pulleys back here in the back for the feed and reverse. Again, not something you typically have to address or work with. For this particular machine, the adjustment for the pool box fill, the amount of strap that's in the pool box every time, is adjusted off of this stud right here, which is located below the left-hand bandway. If you loosen the lower nut down here and adjust this up and down, you create more or less spring pressure inside the pool box, and you can increase and decrease the amount of strap in the pool box. Again, this is set at the time we test out the machine for you, and rarely do you need to adjust that. Just wanted you to be aware of where it was located and what you would do if you ever wanted to change the adjustment on that. On the back side then is the motor. This is driven off of one motor, and we don't need to worry about anything else associated with the motor. In the 30-some years that we've worked with the straight pack line, in particular going on 20 years with the RQ-8 series machines, I can count the number of motors we've used on one hand. That kind of in a nutshell shows the entire seal head area on the RQ-8. The maintenance for this machine is twofold. One, you want to blow out the machine and keep the debris down to a minimum. You want to blow out in particular around the seal head here. Pay attention to the fan blades, keep those clear, and also down here in the trackway. And this is where the strap feeds up from down below. This comes out of the pool box right down here. And we feed up and we go around this large roller here, and then we come up into the thing and up underneath the seal head and then around the left-hand bandway. So at this point, what you want to do is you want to blow out this area. As you can see, this, after a short period of time of running, will create some strap dust and paper dust in this machine, and you want to blow it out. If you take an air hose and just blow it down in here, that's all that's needed, and is more than sufficient. If you ever want to or need to gain access to the entire strap track feed, you have a thumb screw located here and a thumb screw located right here, and by removing those two thumb screws you can take this silver plate off, which is right here and also tucks down over into here. This entire silver plate comes off, which gives you access to the entire trackway for easy cleaning or removing any debris that might be located in that area. The large roller that's located right behind here is a neoprene roller, and that is our tension roller. And the reason the straight pack machine can gain such high tension is because we are touching the strap almost 3/4 of the diameter of that large roller as the strap goes around in this fashion. The strap follows the trackway around like this. So we can pull down very effectively and very hard, and rarely ever wear out this neoprene roller, because hardly ever do we touch in the same spot twice. Located down below here in this area is a black roller located right here, and next to that black roller is, in this guide right here, is the other pinch roller, and those two pinch together and drive strap up around the arch. On the flip side, to reverse the strap as we come around the machine, or we want to pull the strap back around the package, we have a reverse roller that's located right here, another black roller, with a complementary pinch roller on the top that you don't see through the guide right here. So when you initiate the cycle, these two rollers engage, which drive strap back through the strap trackway and down here into the pool box. And then when it reaches the package, we tension, we seal, and then when we go to refeed strap around, the two feed rollers down here engage, and they come up and drive strap again around the strap trackway, up here, out underneath the slide table, and then out on the left-hand band guide. So again, that is a pretty straightforward operation, and the reason why the RQ-8 does not ever come unthreaded is because the strap will never go beyond the reverse rollers here, and because our feed rollers are located all the way down in the machine, you cannot unthread the head even if you strap without a package being present or use the reverse control knob over here on the control panel. You can never push the strap all the way out of the machine where it can't rethread itself. Again, we've gone over blowing out the machine and paying attention to this area in here. The second thing that you'll need to do on a regular basis would be to clean the heater element. And cleaning the heater element is a very simple operation and will require only minutes each time you do it if you do it on a regular basis. Again, you want to do it when the machine is cool. You don't want to do it when it's hot. And all you need to do is remove the screw here, which covers up the heater element itself. And you do not really need to completely remove the second screw, just loosen enough to allow for the cover to pivot out of the way. At this point then what we've done is we have exposed the heater element. And this is the heater element right here. And as you can see, the heater element has a white residue material on it. This machine's been run for a little bit. So what I want you to do is I want you to see what builds up on the heater. That polypropylene residue needs to be removed off the heater on a regular basis. Regular basis, depending upon the length of time with which you run the machine and the frequency, would dictate how frequently you want to clean the heater. If you're using it every day, I would recommend cleaning it once a week. If you use it a couple times a week, you can get by with about a month. That residue builds up on the top of the heater right here, and also up underneath, on the underneath side of the heater. It will build up in residue, and most likely will build up even a greater amount underneath. So you want to clean both the top and the bottom with emery cloth, steel wool, or a wire brush. Again, if you do it on a regular basis, it'll only take you a couple of minutes, and it will extend the life of the heater. It'll make the heater last much longer. Now, typically we get a call from a customer when the strap isn't sealing, and we will ask, when's the last time you cleaned your heater? And when they say cleaned what, we have a good indication they've not cleaned the heater recently, and you can go ahead and clean it at that point in time, and most likely you'll go right back to sealing the strap. The straight pack heaters last an awfully long time. They can last years and years and years if they're properly maintained. At that point then you want to go ahead and put your heater cover back on. I would recommend always leaving the heater cover on. Do not remove it and leave it off. You can certainly remove it to clean it, but I'd make sure I put my screws back in and tighten it down so that you just don't have an operator come in contact with the heater accidentally or inadvertently when they were working around the machine. And I'll go ahead and just put the screws back into this. And that's all that's needed to go ahead and clean the heater. It's a very simple operation. So again, blow out the machine, clean the heater. That's all you need to do on a regular basis with the straight pack strapping machine. Now what I'll do is I'll get around to the back side so that I can show you the electronic control module as well. At this point I'm on the back side of the RQ-8. Underneath this cover, located right here, is our electronic control module. There is a Phillips head screw that is screwed right here in the back. It's removed right now. I would recommend you leave that screw in there so that not just everybody is lifting up this cover and working with the controller. At this point that pivots up as you see here. At this point you have access to and can see the electronic control board that runs the straight pack RQ-8. Up in the upper left hand corner is the heater control knob, currently sitting at 5. We'd recommend leaving that at 5 to 6 is about the optimal temperature. You do not need to run it any higher than that. If you find that you're turning it up to get it to seal properly, first thing I do is go clean the heater element. Down below that is what we call our T1 timer, and that T1 timer is the reverse timer. It is a timer that's built into the machine to allow us to have loop ejection. You do not want to adjust this. That's the reason why the knob's been removed from it. It's set for the optimal time for the size of arch that you have. So rarely do we have to adjust the T1. The T2 timer is the one next to it down below. T2 timer is our feed timer. That's the length of time the machine will feed strap around the arch. And this one is set about 6. For this size arch, 6 to 7 is about appropriate for it. So I would, if you get up above 7, I would suggest you give us a call and let's discuss what else might be going on. But those are your two feed timers. Below then is your fuse. It's a 5 amp fuse. Below that then are a number of items listed VR1 through VR5. Those items are not utilized on this machine at all, and they are in the off position or fully counterclockwise. Do not adjust those at all without talking to us first. There is a function for those, and there isn't any reason for you to have to utilize those, so leave them in the off position. There are a number of LED lights that are indicating on this side, and these are for us to tell you if the machine is in mid-cycle, if we've got an error reading, anything like that. Right now you see the heater lights flashing, which means the heater is up to temperature. You see that LS5, LS1, and LS2 are made, that the clutch is made right now, and the solenoid's engaged. And those, as we run the machine, we can diagnose problems with this unit based on the number of LEDs and the ones that are lit up. At this point, that would be what would be a typical indicator light series for a machine that's sitting at rest and waiting for you to initiate a cycle. At this point, there isn't anything else that you would need to know about this control box. Again, I would highly recommend that you close this, leave the screw in place so that we don't have everybody just gaining access to that. If you find that you're needing to get into that control box area on a regular basis, please by all means give us a call and let's discuss what's going on with the machine. This is the back side of the seal head that I'd shown you earlier. You get a little bit different view of it. You have right here a screw adjustment here that adjusts the pressure of the feed rollers that feed strap around. Before making an adjustment on this stud right here, I would recommend you give us a call and let's discuss it. Again, it's been set to accommodate your machine and your size arch and the strap that you're running, so you should not have to adjust that. We also have an adjustment with this retaining clip right here that is for the reversing pressure of the strap. This is my reverse roller item here that puts pressure on the strap to pull it down to the package. So, and again, that is not something typically you need to adjust, and if you find that you're into that area, please give us a call. This is the back side of the drive assembly, and it shows right over here what is our timing plate, which is this piece right here. And there are a series of proximity sensors that read through the holes in the timing plate and does not allow the straight pack RQ-8 to ever really get out of time, so there are no adjustments for you to make. There are no clutches on this machine, nothing that you have to tweak and adjust on a regular basis. So a very simple seal head.
No, you're talking about this thing.
For the straight pack RQ-8 strapping machine, this concludes our demonstration. Just remember to remove or to replace the tabletops and put the screws back in, and by all means leave your pull box access door closed and keep the cover over the heater. If you have any questions on the machine, any problems, any concerns as you start up, please give us a call. You can reach Miller Bevco at toll-free 800-821-2177. You can also email us at service@millerbevco.com, or if you need parts or any spare items, you can also email us at parts@millerbevco.com. Please be prepared to give us the model number and serial number of the machine when you call so we can quickly identify what you have and get you the appropriate resources you need to get your machine running. Enjoy the straight pack machine. We know that it's the best machine on the market, and we'll give you years of trouble-free service.